You're watching the BTC Racing Line. You are now part of the team. Welcome to BTC Racing. I'm Diana Binks, and as we get set for the start of the Quick Fit British Touring Car Championship, I'm delighted to be joined by driver Tom Chilton. Tom, how are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, really good, thanks. I can see a lot of excitement on Twitter already and other social media outlets. Everyone's just can't wait to get back. How do you feel?
Oh, if they can't wait, imagine how I feel. I'm the most excitable racing driver in the British Touring Car Championship, I think. And I'll tell you what, I've been trying to get out karting, simulator work. We've done obviously a little bit of testing, but it has been limited. I'm itching to go and race because there's one thing driving a car flat out, and then there's another racing. When you're 3-4 abreast going down the straight, you're trying to sort of judge what's going to happen at the next corner and how you're going to exit that one and get a better run out the next one to do a switch pack and overtake someone. That's the bit I miss, and I just can't wait for this weekend. So excited.
I mean, it's going to be quite a different situation, as we all know, this weekend. And I think BTCC have put in some really good procedures to make sure that it's safe racing or a safe environment that we need to be in. So that's fantastic. I guess you'll just miss the fans being there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a lot stricter. Obviously, there's no fans in the paddock or pits, so it'll feel a bit soulless, I guess, on the podium. You know, if we manage to get on the podium and be spraying that champagne, there won't be that many people in front, which will be a bit unusual. But at the end of the day, when I'm out on the track, I'm absolutely flat out. I've one eye in the mirror, one eye going forwards, and it's not until the checker flag finishes you really notice, obviously. Probably the lack of fans and everything else, but you know, my partner and my family will have it all on record on Sky at home, so we can we can all watch it when we get back. But you know, the championship's done a fantastic job of organising everything, because as every business, they've all had to change an awful lot, and we're no different. It's just we're more of an entertainment job, so there's a lot of fans involved, but I think everyone's done a great job there, and the team as well, BTC Racing. You know, they've all made our masks. There's lots of things in place so that in a race truck we don't all go in the same office for a briefing. We separate in different sides of the truck. There's a maximum of four people per car in each side of the garage, and you have to have a mask, obviously, in the garage or the pit lane. So there's lots of procedures in place, and it will be different. But at the end of the day, we can adapt. We're human beings. We can adapt to anything. And I'm just happy we're going racing, and we've managed to get 9 rounds in for the second half of the year, albeit the last one will be in the middle of November and freezing cold at Brands Hatch.
Well, we won't go there yet. we'll just keep on Donington Park for the moment. I mean, it's a great circuit, Donington Park. Obviously, last year, I think, in the opening round, you did get a podium, but unfortunately, you faced a penalty for that, so you lost the podium position, but you were running really strong, I know, with a different team. But is Donington Park a circuit that you like?
Donington Park's a great circuit. Yeah, I absolutely love it. I've had lots of success there in the past, and on the whole, it's probably one of my better circuits, if you like. You know, even if I've had a really bad start and I have been hit off, I've usually fought from the very back to the sharp end of the grid, and really enjoyed the racing there. In the British touring cars, it's all about the racing, as you know. And that circuit, Donington Park, is great because you can all get a nice run out the last corner, ready to do a nice overtake at turn 1. People make mistakes on the craner curves because it's quite twitchy in 6th gear. Then people try and defend, and you get a switch back up the hill, and then it's like that all around the whole lap. I mean, keep going. But it's so exciting, and I just can't wait for that checker flag to drop and see where we end up. But we're obviously, BTC Racing has put everything into making this a championship winning car and team. And I'm not going to really settle for anything less than first, obviously. But we will see what happens this weekend.
How challenging would you describe Donington? We know it's a fast sweeping.
Do you know what?
You know,
it is. It's fast and flowing. It's got a bit of everything. It's even got a big curb at the last chicane now. I think it's quite easy to be within half a second. I'm going to be honest, but it's being those hundreds and thousands better than everybody else to be the fastest is what's really tough. and on the day, depending on the temperature and the grip levels, setting up your race car. Because as we know, all the British touring cars have the same subframes. They're all probably within 8 horsepower. They're all very, very similar, which is why the lap time, you get 27 cars within 1 second. It's extremely close. But it does come down to a bit of the driver and engineer and the team just combining on the day to get that last little bit out of it, depending on how the car's moving around with the grip level on the track and feeling the tyre, which, as we know, this year is the new Goodyear tyre. Goodbye Dunlop, and we'll see how we get on. But we're all very excited and very positive in the BTC racing camp.
You mentioned the new tyre there, and I know obviously you've not had a race yet, but you have had an opportunity to get out on track with the tyre. Not at Donington yet, but what did you find?
Good. I think the new Goodyear tyre is very similar to the Dunlop tyre. It's consistent, and I think that's the key for racing: consistency. You don't want a tyre which has a huge peak and a massive drop off and a chance of obviously failing. With a Goodyear tyre, I feel that it's a tyre we can run and it's safe, which is absolutely key. Safety is key. A bit like this coronavirus, it's all about safety, isn't it? But actually, this year's a bit different. We're actually running 4 less tyres effectively, because whereas before we had an option tyre, which would be either the soft or the hard compound at some circuits. Only Thruxton's the hard tyre, which it's always been, but the rest of the circuits, we don't have the option tyre. So whereas we'd have like 4 softs or 4 hards we could use in race 1, 2 or 3, we now have to just run the medium. And they've not given us another 4 tyres of medium to make it the same number of tyres over the 3 races. So it's going to be quite tricky tyre management this year. So being extra cautious on not having a tyre lock-up is going to be important. Not having a puncture through an accident or anything like this, because you're going to run your tyres in potentially qualifying, race and free practice at the next race weekend. So when you get out in free practice effectively at round 2 at Brands Hatch, I'm going to have 100 plus kilometres on my tyres, and the grip level will be nowhere near what it will be like when you go into qualifying with 4 new tyres. And so tyre management is going to be really interesting. And if somebody has a DNF in one of the races, they're going to look like heroes in free practice 1 or free practice 2 with their fresher tyres because it's done less laps. So, all year long, it's going to be a bit like this. Actually, how did he get on last weekend? Because his tyres, I think, might be fresher. That's why he's quicker in free practice. So I think a lot of that's going to be going on this year. But the Goodyear tyre is a good tyre.
There's going to be a huge amount of opportunity here as well, isn't there? And of course, you can't let up at all. From what you've just said, you have got to be on it straight out of that garage. Absolutely.
What I love about this championship is it's not spread out over sort of Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's just 2 half-an-hour sessions or 2 40-minute sessions where you can set the car up and you're straight into qualifying. And testing now is going to be limited. Budgets are quite tight, and it may the best man win. And I'd like to think, as I've been in it 16 years and done, I don't know how many hundreds of race starts it is. I think I've done 350 something race starts in the BTCC only. That I've got a good start to the year. But do you know what? Anything can happen, Diane. Anything can happen. It's so close. The drivers are all so good. My teammates, I've got to beat my teammates first. They're fast. They're really fast. So I'm going to have to get everything out of my my sort of tools of information and knowledge and put it all together and see what happens on the day.
So is the competition element, do you think, this year? Is it, first of all, it's the team guys, your teammates and the rest?
So for me, it's like the Hondas. You look at kind of your cars. So I've got Team Dynamics and BTC Racing. So I see it as there's 5 of us in the same car. And I want to be P1. I don't want to be P2 or P3. I want to be P1. And I'm car number 3, everyone. But I want to be P1. Number 3 is my lucky number, and it is also Steve Dubman's lucky number, who's one of the owners of BTC Racing. So, mate, we're going to give it our best shot this year with a lucky number, flying the number 3.
No pressure then, Tom.
Absolutely no pressure. I've decided. I've been sitting here for 6 months thinking about it, and I think you've done so many races in your head and so many laps in your head. That's it. You're super positive. If you're a racing driver sat at home right now about to start racing, you're thinking, well, I think we'll be about 25th. What's the point in going racing? Every driver needs to think they're going to win. There's no point in going out there. Go speak to any sportsman. You've got to do everything you possibly can to get the most out of yourself and your equipment, whatever that is. and just on the day get the most out of yourself and the team and everyone around you. It's a team sport, and I'll be getting not just out of myself but out of my mechanics, my teammates. I'll be pushing them as well, because it pushes them, it pushes me, my engineers, the team managers, like, you know, you guys, everyone. Like, if we can all do as much as possible, we've got the best chance, and that's all we wish for, is giving ourselves the best opportunity possible.
So is the plan for the weekend then to arrive Saturday, get those practice sessions underway, look at the baseline setup, and then make the improvements that you feel are necessary before you head into that qualifying session?
Yeah, absolutely. We're all going to start off, because it's the start of the year, with brand new tyres. So everyone's be going flat out the box. Be quite interesting, because it'll give us a good balance on the car. Or it might not be a good balance, and we'll have to adjust, you know, and it's all about making adjustments as quick as possible to get that car to go as fast as possible. And if you're at the front end of the sharp end of the grid in qualifying, it only helps you in the race, because as you know, the BTCC is quite close, and if you're in the middle of the field, it makes it's a lot harder work, basically. But as we all know, finishing races is absolutely key, scoring points, and we're not in it for just a win. We're in it for the championship. So we want to finish all 3 races and get the best start we possibly can.
Well, Tom, I can see from your face you are just itching to get ready, and from what you've said, I can feel that sort of enthusiasm. So it leaves me to sort of wish you well for the weekend, and see what Donington Park brings for you.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.